So we've got email, we've talked principally about email, but you brought into the conversation MSN. How many people use MSN in their daily lives for their business? Yep, yep. So that's quite a significant and personal communication. What about other things like blogs, for example? Does anyone pay any attention to a merchant's blog?
If there's an RSS feed on it.
If there's an RSS feed on it,
yeah.
Right, okay, so it's as simple as that.
What about merchant Facebook accounts as well? Obviously the Gift Experience has a wonderful Facebook account with regular updates and new products and whatnot. I run it. But obviously like, the vast majority of people are probably on Facebook, so although it's not direct communication, it still sort of reinforces the brand and reminds you of what they're doing and just proving that they're a proactive merchant, what they're offering and communicating to people. It's another channel of communication really.
And what about the network communications, the regular emails that go out from Webgains or Affiliate Window, for example? How many people pay attention to that? Do you just scan them or do you ignore them?
Our deal entry team will just collect them and enter into all that information into the database.
Right.
I mean, my view, just looking at it from kind of a pure traditional marketing point of view, is it sounds like there's a lot of communication that needs to be done, and to do it well, you need resource. I suppose the question then is, do people have the resources, merchants, to do a good job of it?
Can I just answer that and the other point slightly? Sure. One is, we probably do have the resources to manage it, but only if it's done efficiently. So for example, if we've got, we think that monthly emails are the way affiliates want to hear from us, but actually it isn't, then actually we're wasting all that resource on that. So I guess that, to summarize your point, it really matters on each affiliate, how they want to be contacted. Maybe the correct approach is right at the outset to contact each affiliate and say, look, how would you like us to contact you? We want to tell you loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff you could get from us in terms of information which is valuable to you. How do you want to do that? And what's the best approach to it? I mean, one of the things that I wanted to put out there was things like Twitter, for instance. I mean, Facebook is again a great example, but Twitter. To send out things like promotions or competitions or things like that. I mean, how would you guys take that as another approach to kind of keeping up with what's going on, or is that just too is there too much going on?
We use that. Obviously, we're a merchant, but we use Facebook, Twitter, but our own blog as well, and we do use all channels where possible to roll out our communication.
How do you use Twitter? What do you put on your Twitter?
Well, we regularly publish on our blog, and that can be literally anything from sort of new products that we're putting out there, new offers that are on, but we tend to kind of keep it less businessy and more we'll focus on stories of people that have actually flown with us. That's the blog. The blog we kind of keep quite editorial, and then Facebook and Twitter we generally use to do a lot of the sort of promotional things. This is what's happening, different offers. With regards to the emails that we send out to affiliates, we do tend to send one a month. Occasionally we skip a month, but we generally communicate when we've got something to say. It's not just a blanket, hello, we're here, hi. It is when we've got a competition running, when we've got a competition winner to announce, when we've got obviously increase or decrease in commissions, anything like that. And I like the idea of a more one-to-one relationship with all affiliates, because that's something that, again, down to resource, we've probably been a bit lax on. And I'm regularly getting emails from David with new affiliates, and I'm now listening to everybody. As soon as I get that email saying I've got a new affiliate, that's a perfect opportunity to say, hi, welcome to the programme, not just the generic email they get from the Webgains platform that we currently use, which has been tailored, that has been thoughtfully written as well. But for me personally, to either pick up the phone, MSN, or email directly to that person and find out what their interests are, how we can benefit them. So it's very interesting hearing the affiliates' views on that kind of engagement.
What sort of response do you get with new affiliates, brand new affiliates you've never seen before come to your programme, you contact them? What do you get from them? Well,
that's what I'm saying. This is something that we don't currently do.
You don't currently do.
No, and listening to everybody, I'm thinking that this is now the best thing to do to actually get them right at that point, because otherwise it's very hello, and there's nothing then after that, and I think a nice warm handshake at that point would be great for furthering that relationship going forward. That's really valuable.
Yeah, one of the merchants I work with, it's all about kind of the relationship. They were basically sending out promotional deals, but before, like, they'll send it on Friday, and this particular merchant, whatever was happening was literally happening the day afterwards. So the poor account managers are being hit by like 1,001 emails, and you know, they have to get it out to the affiliates in time, and really it's about how effective your communication is. It has to be timely, it has to actually have some kind of impact. So like Phil said, you know, someone changing networks does have an impact because it means you lose revenue. If you know you send out something that says, okay, we've got a bundle deal or discount, or we've got an exclusive project on us, affiliates are going to sit up and go, okay, well, it's only through them, this is how much I can earn, this is the benefit. And it's basically giving affiliates time, or letting them know of your plans. For example, like the iPad, you know, there's hype, there's reviews, there's all sorts around it. So when it does hit, the iPad's like the first thing on people's lists. You know, all the affiliates can work towards it, or the merchant benefits from it, or Apple benefits from it. So it's really about kind of timing, impact, and then really understanding your affiliates and kind of the, you know, all from, you know, the affiliate side, and also the account manager as well. You know, them to kind of getting it out as much as, you know, we're there for you and the affiliates. We can only do so much in the time given to us. So it's really kind of building up towards, you know, peak seasons like Christmas, or just making sure that, you know, we're there when you need us to be, but in good time, really.
I think that's another issue as well, the seasonality side of it. Obviously, for the gifts and gadgets sector, you know, we've had a couple of affiliates that sort of panic with the natural cycle of events. Now we're all in this sector, and we all know that there are peaks and troughs in the gift market throughout the year. And I think the other thing is to kind of reassure and sort of forewarn affiliates as well as to what those peaks and troughs might be, so that you can actually take action before you're actually in a trough or a peak, you know, and actually give a bit of sort of warning about. Certainly for us, I mean, we're quite unique because we only offer one product. We only do balloon flights, and that's it. You know, so we've got a very sort of clear, defined cycle throughout the year. So we know that cycle very well, obviously, and to give affiliates a head up perhaps on that sort of level of data might also be useful, I think.
Can I just, oh sorry,
No, go on.
maybe just going back to the communication angle, just from our perspective as quite a large affiliate within the space. It's not so relevant for obviously smaller affiliates out there, but we're quite well manned over on our side, so we have a dedicated team that manage all the relationships for every merchant that we're on the programme with. So in our perspective, we like direct relationships. We want you to contact us directly. So either through email, either through MSN, either on the phone. We've all got direct lines, you can all call us anytime. In terms of blogs, Facebook, Twitter, we would not have the time to pick up promotions from your own Facebook, from your own Twitter. So in terms of, if you want something on our site and you want it done quickly, we can do it, but you need to come to us direct. In terms of communicating regular deals, for example, or content that's in your newsletter monthly, we can educate you about who to send that to, because we have a dedicated team that uploads content. You can always CC us in as well, so we can ensure that's uploaded correctly. And we can kind of go through the processes, I think. So I think what some people have said before about tailoring how you communicate with certain affiliates. So obviously you can't have a one-to-one relationship with every single affiliate on your program. However, maybe the top 10, obviously certain affiliates like to be communicated in a different way. And on our side, we have a lot of resources. So we can obviously, you know, take any call that you like. If something's wrong, we can do that directly. So
what I also like about my voucher codes is that you have a seasonal calendar, which I think works if you're running any site and you know your season. You're lucky you've got one cycle. For us, you know, we do the bulk of our business around Christmas, of course, you know, but there are other peaks around Mother's Day and Father's Day this year. It's quite significant for us. How do you fill your troughs is what you're looking for, isn't it? But that's why my voucher codes approach of publishing a seasonal calendar. I know what's coming up. You know, it's back to school, and we don't really have much products about that. It's Mother's Day. Aha! Then I know that there's something to do. So that's something to look at the cycle of your communications, I think. I work to a seasonal calendar for our blog, notmoresocks.com, because I want to have content that's relevant all the time. It's a very simple thing to do, spreadsheet, what the peaks, you know, like what's going to be coming up, like graduation is one, it's an unusual one for our American site that I've come up across recently. I can't remember the months it is, but that seasonality. But I want to move on because we've done about 15 minutes on that. I think we can sum up some of what we talked about communication, about Steve mentioning segmenting your affiliates. Really, it's that the correct communication to the correct group, personal communication for your top 10, and then just mentioning this, concentrating on your top 10, which I like the idea of, and just-in-time communications, not sending a promo the day before it's about to hit, for example. So the next one, and I think a contentious one, which I like, vouchers have flooded the market and will no longer be effective in a year's time. Discuss. From my point of view, I think voucher codes are here to stay. I think there's going to be hybrids. We've got Simon from Seville over there. Reward sites, we've got Quidcode doing voucher code sites now. We can see from our, well, we use Hitwise, I'll tell you that. We use Hitwise, we can see the amount of people coming to our site, the upstream and downstream traffic, and go to my voucher codes or other voucher code sites is quite significant. People are becoming more loyal to reward sites now, and they're starting their journey there, which is quite interesting. Are they going to be significant? Yes. For the simple reason that for us to give a code, we do a main code every bi-monthly we do it. We do a general code, which we're going to probably come back on and not do regularly, but we also do exclusives like with my voucher codes, because it's significant, and other voucher code sites that should be named, be nameless. But we do, and we get, you can see the business coming in. I think they're here to stay and will be significant in our business because they offer cheap branding and widespread name building. Simon, would you agree?
Well, I think, so you've got the question, vouchers have flooded the market and will no longer be effective in a year's time. I think you've almost got to break that question up into two different parts. So the first part is vouchers have flooded the market. I think that's an interesting question to address first. I mean, if you look at the US, because I've got a lot of data from the US, the guys in the US at savings.com, our parent company, continue to say that voucher code awareness is about 400% more prevalent in the US than it is in the UK. And I think it's because Americans grew up couponing and cutting things out of newspapers and that kind of thing. So my gut feel, and I think I'd love the industry to do some research on this, do a straw poll, and I think the IAB are talking about doing that, is to ask, I think if you ask 2 people out of 20 on the street, they might know about voucher codes and deal sites, but it's amazing how many young savvy people that I meet that have no idea about the fact that you can use an online voucher code, and they only think really, and I think the most prevalent voucher code in the UK at the moment is Pizza Express voucher code, you know, when you go into the restaurants. But I think a lot of people don't realise you can actually use them online for retailers. So I do think the first part of the question is, I don't think they've flooded the market yet. The second part of the question is, will then be effective in a year's time? I think it's really hard to say. I think it really depends on the sector and a merchant by merchant basis. So Pizza Express, I mentioned before, they've really created a culture for using voucher codes, and they've probably also built that into their margins, and I think they've been very clever at doing that. So I think it really depends on who you are. In the gift and gadget sector, I think it also depends on, I suppose, maybe for electronics and that kind of thing, what your buying power is and where your margins lie. And therefore, do you have the margin to offer voucher codes on a regular basis? I do think some consumers that are savvy and are using voucher codes a lot, I think they're beginning to get a little bit sceptical about it, and they see 10% off, 20% off. Is that a good deal? Is that not a good deal? So I think merchants need to get smarter about introducing things like stretch and save, you know, making the consumer perhaps work a little bit harder for a better deal, or perhaps move away from discounting and move towards getting a better deal, getting a better warranty, getting something extra, getting an extra hour on the balloon flight, or whichever it may be, adding more value to the consumer. So I do think I think most retailers need to come up with 2 strategies. One is, how do you create more value out of people that are using a voucher codes on a more regular basis, and perhaps how do you attract new customers to your business by the use of voucher codes?